Have you ever noticed how a city can be loud enough to drown your thoughts, yet still leave you painfully alone? That was how Brazaville felt to Sophia the night she arrived. The city lights shimmered like promises they never meant to keep. Cars rushed past her like she didn't exist. People laughed, argued, lived. And she stood there with a single worn bag, a broken heart, and grief so heavy it bent her spine. Sophia had not come to Brazaville chasing dreams. She had come running from death. Back in her village, life had never been easy, but it had been honest. Her parents worked the land until sickness took them one after the other. Sophia became a mother overnight, caring for her younger brother, Daniel, whose body grew weaker with each passing month. She sold vegetables. She washed clothes. She begged when pride finally broke. Still, Daniel died. He died holding her hand, whispering that she should not cry. That was the day something inside Sophia went silent. Brazaville promised work, food, money, survival. It did not promise dignity. Within weeks, Sophia found herself working nights at a bar that smelled of alcohol, sweat, and regret. They called her a waitress, but everyone knew the truth. Smiles were bought. Attention was rented. Hope was traded for cash that disappeared as quickly as it came. Each night, she painted her lips red to hide how empty she felt. Each morning, she washed herself raw, trying to scrub off the shame. And every morning, without fail, she passed him. On a dusty street corner near the bus stop stood a young preacher named Elijah. He was not loud like the others. He didn't shout threats of hell. He spoke calmly, passionately, as if every word mattered. God still sees you, he would say. Grace is not finished with you. No life is too broken to be restored. Sophia hated him for it. She would walk past with her head high, muttering under her breath, another holy liar. Men like him preached purity by day and hid their sins by night. She had seen it before, until one night she saw Elijah enter the hotel. The same hotel where her bar sent clients. At first she laughed.
So this is who you really are, she thought.
She waited, watched. When he didn't come out, curiosity twisted into anger. She followed him upstairs. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again. When the door finally opened, what she saw froze her. Elijah stood there, not drunk, not lustful, not even surprised. His eyes were red. His face was pale. The room behind him was dark, quiet, heavy with something unspeakable. I know what you think, he said softly. Sophia crossed her arms, ready to tear him apart with words she had rehearsed for men like him. But then he spoke again. I didn't come here for you. That was when she noticed the note on the table. The rope by the bed. Her breath caught. Elijah's voice trembled. I came here to die. The words hit her harder than any slap. He sat down slowly, as if the weight of his life had finally crushed him. He told her everything, how his ministry had failed, how the church seats stayed empty, how donations dried up, how his parents had disowned him for refusing a law career. I chose God, he whispered, and lost everything. Sophia felt something crack inside her. She had expected hypocrisy. She found despair. You think you're the only one God failed, she snapped. She told him about her parents. Daniel. The hunger. The nights she cried until her chest burned. You don't get to quit, she said, her voice shaking. Life didn't ask me if I was ready either. Silence filled the room. Something shifted in Elijah's eyes. Not hope yet, but resistance to death. That night did not end with salvation. It ended with two broken people sitting on opposite sides of a bed, staring into the dark, both alive only because someone else refused to let them die. And neither of them knew that this night, this painful, forbidden meeting, had just rewritten their destiny. The grace that came from the shadows. Some nights change you forever. That night in the hotel did not end Elijah's pain, but it stopped his death. And sometimes that is enough to begin again. When the sun rose over Brazaville, Sophia left the room without saying much. Not because she didn't care, but because caring felt dangerous. Elijah remained seated, staring at the cross on his chest, wondering how close he had come to disappearing from the world without anyone noticing. He did not preach that day. Instead, he sat on the same street corner where he once spoke of hope and asked himself whether he still deserved to. Days passed, then weeks, and somehow, Sophia and Elijah kept crossing paths, not as pastor and sinner, not as preacher and waitress, but as two people who had seen each other at their weakest. They spoke in short conversations at first. A nod, a few words, long silences. But slowly, walls fell. Sophia confessed that she wanted out of the bar, that every night felt like dying in pieces. Elijah listened without judgment. No sermons. No scripture thrown like stones. Just presence. But danger was still circling. Elijah's health began to fail. Sleepless nights.
Panic.
A strange weight in his chest. A local doctor told him bluntly, "Your heart is breaking faster than your body can survive." Stress, guilt, isolation. If nothing changed, Elijah would not last long. Fear returned. Sophia saw it in his eyes one evening and confronted him. "You're dying again," she said. "Not tonight," he answered, forcing a smile.
"But soon," she replied.
That was when the cruel truth surfaced. The bar owner had noticed Sophia's absence. He demanded she return, or pay a debt she could never afford. The threat was clear. Violence was not off the table. Elijah understood what this meant. If Sophia returned, she would be consumed. If she refused, she would be punished. And if Elijah intervened publicly, his already fragile life and ministry would collapse completely. The city did not reward righteousness. It punished weakness. One night, Sophia made a decision she swore she would never make again.
She went back.
Not for desire, not for money, but to protect the one person who had seen her soul and not turned away. When Elijah found out, he broke. He fell to his knees in the empty church, begging God to either fix everything or take him now. But God answered differently. Elijah went to his small congregation, fewer than 20 people, all as tired as he was, and told them the truth. No lies. No image management. Just honesty. There was silence. Then one woman stood up and said, "If grace saved us, it can save her too." They pooled what little they had. A stove, a table, a corner near the market. Sophia started selling food, simple meals, honest work. The bar lost its grip. The debt disappeared. Life did not change overnight, but it changed. Slowly, Sophia laughed again. Elijah preached again, not from a place of perfection, but survival. People listened this time, not because he was flawless, but because he was real. Love crept in quietly. They resisted it, prayed against it, feared it. But love does not ask permission when it is born from shared scars. When they married, criticism came fast and loud. A pastor and a woman like her? She's unclean. He's compromised. They ignored the noise. On their wedding day, something unexpected happened. Elijah's parents walked in. Sophia had found them months earlier. She told them their son was alive because he chose faith and love over pride. She asked them to come, not as judges, but as parents. Tears replaced years of silence. As vows were spoken, broken families healed. As hands were joined, old shame loosened its grip. Years later, Sophia's business thrived. Elijah's ministry stood, not massive, not famous, but alive. Purpose replaced despair. They had not been saved from pain. They had been saved through it. Because sometimes, grace does not come through perfection. It comes through the people we least expect, at the moment we are most ready to give up.